This is a poem that is, my little sister is turning 13 years old in a little less than a month. And I was like, I was 13 years old once, maybe, supposedly. Which is also around the time when I realized that, like, I was actually a big sister was when I was 13. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a little thing for me to be jealous of because she's got a dad that left my mom. So I wrote this letter. Whackity schmackity do. Okay, then things got real. When I was 13 years old, I mathed when I expected your mom and dad would let me take you shopping alone. You would have just received your driver's license. Your hair would be forever in dusty gold. Your eyes would still be blue despite half of your bloodline, and we would have things in common, like angst, and music, maybe, and cuss words. I would try my best to relate to being a teenager as if forgetting I ever was one. When I was 13 years old, I mathed when I would be able to take you to a bar. Of course, I had no idea what a bar actually looked like inside, but I'd seen them in movies, and that was as good as real. I would be 34. Your hair would be longer than my memory of the previous decade, and we would talk about sex and drink until we forget our differences. By then, I would have stopped thinking about how much you don't look like mine, or how much better you were to have been born a daughter who loved the color pink and didn't own a skateboard. But mostly, how much I wish your dad would have been my dad. By then, I would have stopped thinking about how much my mom and him still laugh, the way they always laughed. Or about how his replacement was a man so mean I swore he was filled with fire. I would have stopped wondering what I did to become so unlovable by the men who raised me. I would have stopped blaming my own comparison to you. I would have stopped resenting the way your dad whitewashed you and your mother's brown like mud from the bottom of a new pair of sneakers. I would have stopped kicking myself for not trying harder to make him less racist, or not trying harder to tell him in front of you that it's not okay to say that's gay to describe something stupid like some kind of inside joke I didn't find funny, no matter how sarcastically it was said. I would have forgiven my love handles for the way they danced when he flicked them. I assume you hate your body the same way, seeing how when you are in public you point at all the fat people and cackle like you are terrified. I would have stopped kicking myself for not explaining how cruel that is, or voicing my discomfort when you say incredibly intelligent things followed by ignorantly mean things. By then I could tell you about my girlfriend and you would understand the language I use without questioning who I am as a human being. I would have forgotten the time you ridiculed me for not graduating high school even though you attended my graduation. And of course, you didn't know what you meant when you said, why don't you and Eric get real jobs? Like I didn't break my back every day struggling to feel proud of myself for simply living. I would stop blaming myself for not better showing you that there is a world that exists outside of your bubble, exploding with weird, astounding treasures that just want you to love them. You would ask me for advice, and I would tell you everything I've learned, because by then, of course, I would have figured out how to be a big sister without resentment